Weigh-In is brought to you by our stable of sponsors.
It's Mustang Valley in front and she's too good again.
What's up? I'm getting down with the peak.
Weigh-In.
Imperatriz has got her!
Plenty of reasons to celebrate over the weekend. Imperatriz blitzing the turf at the Valley on Friday night, and on Saturday afternoon, Mustang Valley galloped into Group 1 success in the Arrowfield Stud Plate. All of that to go through on our show this morning. Michael Guerin joins me to get us through Weigh-In. And Michael, you come with a lot of information for people at home.
There's been a lot happening, Em. Good morning to everybody watching in New Zealand or further afield. The drama started early on Saturday morning, 12:15, with Imperatriz. We'll get into that and talk to Opie later. But that extended right through the morning. Legato, the long-time futures favourite, taken out of the Livermore, then, the Arrowfield, then we lost La Creek. After all of that, Mustang Valley getting the job done, but so many more moving parts. Huge information day to day, because a lot of horses we thought were going to be in Group 1s aren't going to be there. On top of that, we've got Butch Castles updating us on the new entity of Waikato Thoroughbred Racing and the Arc from Paris, where we saw a horse who may be potentially a great. Unfortunately, we may not see too much of him again. So in one of the busier Group 1 weekends I can remember in a long time.
Well, with plenty to get through, let's head into our first replay, and it is the Arrowfield Stud Plate, which was taken out by Mustang Valley.
As they turn, it is Call Sign Mav in front. On the outside, Mustang Valley into the conversation quickly. Molt Time and Just Ask Me's out wider. Mustang Valley to the lead. Call Sign Mav, he's fighting hard on the inside. Molt Time's trying to chop them back as well. Mustang Valley, Molt Time on the outside coming quickly. It's Mustang Valley in front and she's too good again. Mustang Valley wins the Arrowfield. Second over Molt Time. Call Sign Mav, time's ticking a run.
Really big success for Mustang Valley, and we welcome in Rodney Schick into the show this morning. Rodney, a very good morning to you. First of all, a big congratulations. What a weekend for Windsor Park Stud.
Yeah, morning guys. No, that was fantastic. Had a lot of fun down there on Saturday, and then had some good success at Riccarton as well.
Rodney, you must have been rubbing your hands together on Saturday morning, because things really played into your favour with the weather, the scratching of some of the other horses in the race. You must have been pretty excited when it came to a start time on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, look, we're fairly confident before all that happened. You know, like I know she goes very well on the rain-affected tracks, but we're not too worried what surfaces goes. And it was sad to see those mares come out, because we always want to see those fields as good as we can get them, but she was at the top of the game on Saturday, and it was awesome.
And I guess looking forward, you'd have to think that potentially she could be even better at the 2,000 metres. Is that your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's really her go. You know, we'd like to see her get up over a bit more ground and probably a better track, and you'll see she'll go pretty well.
Rodney, congratulations on another Group 1. Obviously, the Livermore was just around the corner for her. You went to Australia last year, didn't have a lot of luck, and you had a placing in Sydney. Have you guys had any provisional conversations with Andrew Forsman about her returning to Australia? And for you as a stud owner, is that Australian black type crucial for her future broodmare career?
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, she was pretty unlucky in that race where she ran third, and then she ran a huge run in the Doncaster for fifth. You know, she was in the worst part of the ground and came home really well. And if she comes through the Livermore well, she holds a nomination for the Cox Plate. So, we'd probably go and have a crack at that if she comes through and everything's well. I mean, she's really going well. She wouldn't have blown a candle out on Saturday. Andrew said to me, he said, just look at her, her nostrils weren't even flaring after the race. So she's certainly on song, and it'll be nice to be able to target my favourite race.
Rod, let's talk about Vanbrugh, because obviously when you have a very good horse for a stallion, you are hoping it boosts their stallion career. It's not always the case. We've seen horses like Bull Bars and Scissor Kick struggle after having very good horses. Where's Vanbrugh at after, I believe, the stud had to ship off one of its old mates in Mongolian Khan, who's headed off to Asia? Yeah,
look, mate, he's doing a huge job. Like, the year that he went to stud, there was 14 stallions went to stud in New Zealand that year. We had 3 here, turn me loose. As well, and so it was a very competitive year to go to stud. So his numbers were small, but I think he's had something around 30 odd runners now for a dual Group 1 winner, and then Wild Knight, who's Group 1 place, Group 2 winner, very, very smart horse. It wouldn't surprise me if he could pick up a Group 1 and a listed winner as well. So for his numbers, he's doing an extremely good job.
What sort of numbers would he get this season, Rodney? Because it is a very tough time to be a stallion in New Zealand with Purincanto and Prasia and obviously some very good horses coming through. So what sort of numbers would a stallion like Vanbrugh get this year?
So last year he got up to 110 mares last year, which was great on the back of those horses. And that's by far the biggest book he had, and this year he'll serve over 100 again. So the breeders are seeing that he's good value, and he leaves a very good type, it's certainly a good help, and looking forward to seeing Wild Knight step out again too.
Mate, one of the great scenes post-race on Saturday were the owners that you guys have brought into this wonderful mare. We were in the Valley Rugby Club Blazers, which is the colours of Mustang Valley. It's a great story because I believe you had 2 fillies in a paddock. You brought owners into both of those fillies. Mustang Valley is one of those, with Nick Hewson and his rugby mates. The other one was It's Business Time, and an hour later she did the job at Riccarton. So 2 horses out of the same paddock, both winning on the same day. And Rodney, I think lots of people would suggest It's Business Time might be Windsor Park's next black type winner.
Yeah, look, she's flying as well. It's an exciting time bringing in guys into horses. And most of these people haven't had horses before. Nick did a great job. He played rugby up there for 15 years, kept in Hong Kong. So he had a great affiliation with the Valley Rugby Club, and it's been great to see those guys have the success, and they're just loving the ride. And then It's Business Time. I've brought schoolmates into her, and so there's a little bit of pressure there. So she had a bit of a wobbly start. Got injured early in her career in a paddock accident, so she had a bit more time, but she's lightly raced and certainly going on the right way.
Yeah, I was looking at her record. She won 5 of her past 6 starts. And what's the next step for her? Where does she go to next?
I think I talked to Mark yesterday, and he said, where do you want to go? Do you want to get to the Breeders' Stakes, or do you want to go to the Copeland Mile? I said, do you think is she good enough to win a Copeland Mile? And he said, certainly is. So I said, we'll head that way. But I think she's going to go to an open 1400 in a couple of weeks, and then all going well, we'll head to the Copeland Mile, yeah.
You talked about Vanbrugh, of course, with the success of Mustang Valley, but this is by another one of your size and Turn Me Loose, and that must be very satisfying too, with the Windsor Park stud colours on.
Yeah, look, he's doing a great job. He had a nice win in Hong Kong last night as well. His stats are really good. He's trucking along really, really well, but he can leave a high-class athlete. And look, she's shaping up really well, but certainly it's nice to have a couple of stallions doing the job.
Rodney, big thank you to yourself, and a big well done to all the connections involved in both of those horses. I'm sure it was a good night, Saturday night, celebrating that success.
Yeah, no, it was certainly good, and thank you guys for having us on the show. So, we'll look forward to their continued success.
Great to get Rodney Schick in with us this morning, and great to hear his thoughts around both of those horses. With regards to the Beaten Brigade, fill us in, what are your thoughts there in the Group 1?
There was a lot of moving parts here, Em, so that maybe the easiest way to do it is to bring up the market for the Livermore shortly. So the winner's obviously a very, very high-class heavy track horse. She's had 11 starts on the heavy for 6 wins, and she just cruises over heavy tracks. She's had 15 starts on soft or good, and she's never won a race. Now, she does have a lot of good form on better tracks, and Andrew Forsman is confident she'll handle a better track for the Livermore, and therefore she deserves to be the favourite. The second horse, Molt Time, doesn't have a nomination for the Livermore. Now, Sean Clockworthy is considering talking to the owners about a late nomination for the Copeland Mile. That is $6,000 closing on November the 1st. She could end up in the Copeland's market. More about the Copeland's shortly. Pearl of Alsace was excellent, winning at Te Rapa on Friday. Peaked on the run, but was really good. Now, Sam Weatherly has been confirmed to ride Pearl of Alsace. Now, you'll be surprised because Michael McNabb rode Pearl of Alsace to win on Friday, but Michael has chosen to stick with Ladies Man, which would surprise some people. So looking for the horse here in the Pen Caro colours, the blue and white. It took a long time to get past the second horse, and you wouldn't immediately think this was Group 1 winning form, M. But Sean Ritchie told me yesterday, look, we took her to Ruakaka, lightened off her training program when she came home, and we think she was half a run short. So she should improve up to the 2,040 metres. So Nabba rode her here. Nabba is sticking with Ladies Man, who is going to the Livermore, and therefore Sam Weatherly will ride the second favourite. Other horses, we'll go back to that market now because we want to give you some updates on what's happening here. La Creek won't be going to the Livermore because it's not racing this Saturday. So the La Creek team haven't made a decision. Brando is starting. Aromatic is starting, Campionessa is starting. Could get hold of Cool Sign Mav and John Barry, but of those ones there, you would suggest the rest of that page can't win. We'll get to Sharp and Smart in a second. Platinum Invader is going to go there if the track is good. He's a doozy will not. He's a doozy coming out. Lisa Letter saying we're a bit disappointed. We'll wait for him for the Thompson handicap. So Predefer is not going. La Creek not racing this week. Well, she won't go from 1,400 to 2,000, so therefore she is out of play. Now, the other massive name and the long-time favourite for the Race and Horse of the Year is Sharp and Smart. Spoke to Graham Rogerson yesterday. No immediate reason for what was an abject failure. Michael McNabb said to him the horse had dipped at the 600 and just stopped. That's not great. So they had a vet examination, nothing in the lungs and no heart issues. Horse recovered quickly. Going to have a thorough vet examination on Monday afternoon, and then they'll make their decisions. It'd be really hard to go to the Livermore. I suppose if they don't go, you say, what do they do for the spring? Because you can't possibly go to Australia on that. So vet examination on Monday afternoon for him to find out where he goes. And Graham said everything is up in the air with him at the moment. So looking at the Livermore, Mustang Valley clear favourite. Andrew not concerned by a better track. Sean Ritchie wants a better track. And Ladies Man, the horse Michael McNabb has chosen to ride. They're the big three in the next of the Group 1s, which is now 12 days away.
Good stuff. That's great info, and that sort of ties up the Arrowfield Stud Plate. There were some other really good races on the card from Hawke's Bay, including that Hawke's Bay Guineas, which was won by Lantern Way.
As they swing and go, and here Burn to Shine, No Rain Ever, Solidify in the middle is starting to put in with a run, and then Lantern Way further away. Tokyo Tycoon's got a bit to do here, and it is Solidify. Lantern Way on the inside there, still fighting on is Burn to Shine. Shanti Laces getting home late. Solidify, but Lantern Way putting the big ones in now, and Lantern Way raced up and grabbed the Guineas with about 50 metres to go. Strong win from Solidify, and then Burn to Shine.
Well, Sotono Aladdin secured Guineas success, but not Michael with the horse we anticipated. A pretty shrewd purchase, just $40,000 from Book 2. Second in the Wanganui Guineas, and I know Lisa sort of said after the race there was a lot of improvement to come, and I think we really saw that improvement when it came to the Hawke's Bay Guineas.
Yeah, I think they've been patient with the horse, a big gap between runs to win this race. It's easy to say the wet track affected the other horses, and possibly did with Tokyo Tycoon, but this is a maiden who's come out and beaten good horses, and therefore they have to go to the 2000 Guineas, you would think. Great 3-year-old spring for Satono Aladdin, because not only does he have Tokyo Tycoon, but he has Lupo Solitario. Now, so he'll head to the Guineas. The good horse in second, Solidify, he'll head to the Guineas as well.
He was tough, I thought. He always runs a good... He's very versatile, isn't he? He handles all tracks. He shows up.
Well,
I guess...
he puts his head up in the air, which
yes,
I think affects him a little bit. So I think there's a fair bit of learning to do for him. Tokyo Tycoon was the big one. So Opie said post-race, all he could put it down to was the track. They've had their team meeting and they've said, no, we're not pressing on. So Tokyo Tycoon, who was a long-time favourite for the 2000 Guineas, is in the paddock. He's finished. Out for the spring, takes him out of the Sarton, takes him out of the 2000 Guineas. He'll be set for the new $1.5 million Tab Karaka Millions on January 27, we hope, at Ellerslie. All of that, and what we're about to show you, makes Crocetti the even money favourite. Eamon, this is just a wonderful horse for Daniel Narclay, for the trainers, but for Warren Kennedy, who had a little bit of a tricky moment here, but man, once they got that gap on the inside, he's just a winner.
Unbeaten, isn't he? 4 starts, 4 wins, and that was another victory over the 1200 metres. I guess overcame a little bit of adversity to get the win, you could say, and love the way that runs away from the line. Just when it comes to the Hawke's Bay Guineas, I guess I was reading it, she shows you how bad the track was. It was the slowest Hawke's Bay Guineas since Finnegan Fox in 1989. So I think there's a fair point to just put that to the side, bear that in mind when it comes to some of the feature races. What are your thoughts on this horse up and distance? We've seen him effective at the 1200 metres. A lot of our other Guineas hopes have now had the chance to be seen over the 14.
I think he has a very high cruising speed and he has early tactical speed, but also what he has now is respect. If, and it's still a fair way to go, of course, he'll go to 1400 in the Sarton on October the 21st against Lupo Solitario. If he gets a good draw or has the ability to go forward, he's going to get respect from people. He might go to Riccarton unbeaten. And if he does that, because no Tokyo Tycoon and no Lupo, so there's quite a big gap there to the next bunch of horses compared to what he's doing at the moment. I think he's a horse who, if he got to the front around Riccarton over a mile, not too many horses would want to be eyeballing him, because it's 600k plus a $100,000 bonus. And do you want to go to war with a really good horse? I think he's a good horse and he deserves to be short in the Guineas. The Sarton will determine just how short, but when you go through the Guineas horses, it's really hard to find a horse who you think will beat him. You think horses might be able to beat him, but to actually beat him with tactical speed, a faultless preparation and a really good jockey, there's lots going right there for the Waikato team. So I hope they win the Guineas. We'll find out more on Sarton Day. Just with the Guineas, Thoroughbred, of course, is now stepping into that role as the Tiakau maybe leading light for the Guineas. Taliska, who was scratched on Saturday, it'll go to a race at Ashburton in a couple of weeks, or possibly the Watercree at Riccarton. But Thoroughbred, I think he needed to step up here, and he stepped up here.
Yep, he most definitely did step up. He's one of those horses that sort of gets not underestimated, but he shows up in those big dances. He had a number of big dances as a 2-year-old. He always ran a consistent, honest race, and he looked like he's really settled in down south nicely. He's already down there. It's not like he has to do the travel or anything. He's settled in, and they pulled away from the rest of the field. I think when it comes to a Guineas, he'll run another really honest, solid race. He was also bred by Windsor Park Stud, the son of Kermadec, so just adding to their success. He did get beaten by Crocetti though, didn't he? He finished 3rd to Crocetti at the start of his campaign at Ruakaka, so I guess that is something to
I think
to
at that race
consider.
at Ruakaka, he came in the bend and he just seemed to lose concentration. Crocetti got away from him and he was in the trail and there was a horse outside him and he just didn't quicken. Then once Opie got into him the last 200, he was better. I think there's no doubt he'll get the 1600, but Crocetti looks a better horse at the moment. Just with the Guineas, if you are looking at that and thinking, oh yeah, Thoroughbred, Tiakau, Tangerine, this all sounds like a Guineas winner. Don't forget, Opie Bosson almost certainly won't be there for that day. It's the same day as the Champions Sprint with Imperatriz at Flemington. I know which one of those two you guys would like to win more, so I would suggest they won't be having Opie for Team Tiakau at Riccarton on the 11th of November.
was a big weekend for Team Tiaka, which we'll get to in the second part of our show. Let's now take a look at the Copeland's Bakery's mile trial, where it was the Buffer who came in front.
Kapua not in it. Wide out is the Buffer, and then came Goodanya, feeling the power lifting. Emanon going with him from Powerful Moss. Second thought, Adenaya and the Buffer. It's feeling the power, the leader from Emanon. Adenaya come up quickly from second thought. Pro serve late. Goodanya down the outside. Emanon got to feeling the power. Goodanya wide out with Adenaya. Still there is second thought. It's Goodanya and second thought from Adenaya and the Buffer. Second thought, Goodanya. Goodanya put his head in front. The Buffer is driving hard in the centre. The Buffer moved through for Danica Wilson and got her first win. The Buffer won the Guineas trial and beat Goodanya. Third across, second thought, and fourth in was Powerful Moss.
Was a really patient rider, no panic ride from Danica Wilson, who got her first ever win. So really big well done to her. What a day to be able to get the win. Had to come through horses and was able to get this horse through that customary flat spot that we know he has and work home to score pretty decisively.
When you see young riders win their first race, and Danica's 21, so she's not a teenager, but that's only her 8th ride, very rarely are they coming between horses in an open handicap. Often it's they lead or they come down the outside, because a lot of the younger jockeys don't like pushing into those awkward spaces, which is understandable. That comes with experience as they get older. Here she is, didn't lose a cool, didn't use the whip much, going through a gap on a top weight in an open handicap. That's gutsy stuff, and I don't know Danica, but congratulations to her. That's a really cool way on a horse she knows well to get her first win. I don't think it'll go to the Copelands. They're suggesting the track might be a little bit firm by the time they get to the middle day of the carnival. We do have a market for the Copelands, and look, we've seen it before with its business time, but there is a fair few moving parts to this, and it might be worth viewing again. Its business time will go there. He's a doozy is unlikely. We haven't seen Desert Lightning. Belclare is a no. Belclare will go this week to Hara, possibly. She also has the option of going to the middle day of the carnival for the Breeders' Stakes down there at Riccarton. But I wouldn't be jumping on her for this because it's a handicap, and therefore she'll be weighted very severely. This is dramatic on the first race at the Bay on Saturday. It will go, so it's potentially being aimed at it, but very likely to go to the Copeland's Mile. All of a sudden, there's lots of holes on that first page. A lot of horses who won't be there. That's why I'm suggesting you could see a horse like Multime come into play. Most importantly, I spoke to Kelvin Tyler yesterday. Lightning Jack will go. Now, the reason I'm telling you that is he's rated 97. And if he's the top-rated horse in the race at 97 and he gets the 60 kgs, all those It's Business Time, Multime if they late nominate, all those horses in, most they can get 56, 55, or in his Business Time's case, 53, 54. So you're going to have favoured runners who are in form having this huge weight gap because of the 97 horse potentially being the top weight for the race, and them being mares. It's really going to play into their hands. It's going to set up beautifully for a mare in that 80 to 90 slot, Apostrophe being another one of those.
Good stuff. Well, we're going to get you off to a break, but we leave you with Ellis Winslow and Krishna Madhu combining to take out the North Canterbury Cup.
You've got to get the far side. Tatamia Lad tracks LJ, and then came Seriously and Bluey's Chance across the track. Lakita in the deep from Deals Done. LJ, Tatamia Lad now peeled for their run toward the rail as Burnview. It's Lakita the leader. LJ after it the outside. Tatamia Lad chiming in as well down the outer. Tatamia Lad moved up with LJ. They got to Lakita. Then came Deals Done. It's LJ and Tatamia Lad stride for stride at the 150. LJ, Tatamia Lad fighting it out. Tatamia Lad does better here. And Tatamia Lad, the core boy. Tatamia Lad, 1.5 a length.
Zoo Style Acromantula as Fura made a line of 3 before the corner. Then Rothfire. Imperatriz is making her bid as Fura around the turn at the 150. Let a length and a half. Imperatriz is flying now as Fura at the 50. Imperatriz has got her and raced on by Imperatriz by a length.
What a win for the Tangerine team. Imperatriz was so good, taking out the Moya Stakes, breaking her own track record. I'll admit I've watched that replay quite a few times. It was certainly an exciting night. If you're able to stay up till that 12:15 on Friday night or Saturday morning, it was certainly worth the wait. We welcome in Opie Bosson to the show. Opie, a very good morning to you. Understand it's back down to earth with a bump because you're out on the farm this morning.
Yeah, just taking a quick break from bringing cattle in to get weighed. So, yeah, no, it is a bit of a step down.
Opie, congratulations, mate. Okay, talk us through what's on television at the moment. There's a young man who I know is Max and a very large dog and a small dog. Yeah, probably a little bit less glamorous than the Valley on Friday night.
Yeah, a little bit. We've just been out on the farm. We're bringing 150 cattle in to get weighed. So, yeah, we're pretty flat out actually.
All right, let's talk about Friday night because a lot of us stayed up till the early hours of Saturday morning, including your wife, which is rare for her to be up that late. It wasn't as easy as it looked because she looks like she just sits there, turns off, and then when you push the button on her, she just explodes. Does it feel that easy?
Yeah, well, she was a little bit flat in the middle stages because they were going pretty quick. But as soon as you push the button, you can feel it like come up underneath you, and then she changes legs at about the 100 metre mark, and geez, it's like turbo.
You're heading up to 1,200 metres for the Waikato next. Would you expect, because I know you were concerned about 2 runs at 1,000, would you expect Opie that 1,200 will suit her even better?
Oh, it'd be ideal. Yeah, she's looking for the 1,200 metres, so it just gives her a little bit more time to get up underneath you. And but geez, I can't see her getting beat around the valley. She just loves the track, and if something would be traffic problems is going to be our only worry.
Mate, you've ridden some very, very good horses. You've won a Caulfield Cup. You've ridden Probabile, who's one of all of our personal favourites. Where does she start to sit among those horses, or in your mind, do you break them into bunches? Do you break her into a sprinter, Probabile into a miler, obviously Mongolian Khan into a stayer? Or does she just now start to edge toward being the best horse you've ridden?
Well, she is going that way. Like she's done it at all distances as well. So, and I still think she could actually win a Group 1 at a mile. So, as an older horse, but geez, the way she's sprinting is just not much better.
Opie, for you, do you feel that she knows she's a good horse? When you watch her from home and you see her on the TV, she looks like she really knows that she's good. Is that what the feeling she gives you?
Yeah, she does. Even after the race, all good horses, you pull up and they just take a time, have a look around, and wait. And so we had to wait for the pony to come up beside us for the interview, and she just settled and waited for that. She knew what was going on, so she knew she'd done the job.
Your association with Dave and Mark Walker and the team there at Te Akau, tell us about that, because it must have been really satisfying to get a success in Australia, a 92nd Group 1 for them.
Yeah, I'm privileged to ride for Te Akau, and Dave buys so many amazing horses, and he's been so good to me in my whole career. So even for them to take me over there to ride her, they didn't have to take me. It was just a privilege here to be able to pay them back for the Group 1 win.
Opie, let's talk about the immediate future for you. I believe the Valley this Friday night to ride Sans Doute, and then you're heading to Flemington on Saturday for Skew With. I presume you're heading back to the Valley to ride this mare, and then of course on November the 11th you'll ride her in the Champion Sprint. So are you sort of thinking you'll spend about half the next weekend to the next 6 weeks in New Zealand and half in Australia?
Yeah, just as you said, I'm on the way this weekend. But I've always come home and arrive midweeks and just whatever Te Akau need me to do. And I'm happy to just get on a plane and get to Australia and try and win some big prize money.
One question, Opie, Tokyo Tycoon, did you put it down to the track on Saturday? Because he never really seemed to quicken at all. Any other reason for that?
No, I think it came down to the track, and I see he's going to have a spell now, and I think that's probably the right thing to do, and just get him ready for the Kraken Mile.
Opie, thanks so much for your time this morning. I'll let you get back to the childcare and the dog care and the cow care, and hope those cows weigh in nicely this morning.
Hope so.
How many cows do you have?
About 230.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey, proper question for you, because many people out there watching have different ways of watching races. Usually when you would watch Opie ride in a Group 1, you'd be working, so you'd be in a process of doing this or being on track. What were you like at home leading up to the race, because you've got no control, you can't be there, you're just a spectator like the rest of us? What's it like watching your husband in a Group 1 on a favourite?
I actually had a couple of girlfriends around on Friday night, and I said, I'm sorry, but the race is at 12:15. If you don't make it to that time, I don't mind, just get me a little bit of the way there. So they left about 11:15. They did a pretty good job. And I did the housework, tidied up, got ready for bed, and then everyone had gone to sleep, so I couldn't wake anyone up. So there was a lot of fist pumping.
Are you a jump up off the couch and yell person, or like? Because I find if I'm going to yell on the finish of a race, and I know it's ridiculous because the horses can't hear you. I know it's silly, but we all do it. Do you yell for Opie? Do you yell for the horse? And do you jump up off the couch?
Go!
Yeah. Was it hard to go? I know, because you're not a night person. Was it hard to go back to sleep after that?
Yeah, it was. Luckily, my mum lives in England, obviously, so I could ring her because it was the middle of the day there, and she'd watch the race too. So we had a quick debrief before I went and tossed and turned, and thought how exciting. Quick text, well done, got to go to bed now, good night.
How's Opie's weight? I should have actually asked him, but he seems to be comfortable around that 57 mark at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's still hard work, keeping it at that, but it's worth it when you've got horses like that, and I think that's a big thing, is having that motivation with the horse flesh that he's able to ride at the moment.
A lot of people who wouldn't know this, and looking at you that wouldn't guess this, but you're a fiend for bacon butty sandwiches. Do you eat those like in the privacy of like here at trackside?
Honestly.
No, but seriously.
How did we get here?
No, because what I want to know is surely you can't eat them in front of Opie. That would just be cruel.
Let me just tell you at home what's happened here. Michael wants to try a bacon and egg buddy sandwich that I make. They're so
don't
delicious,
make this about me.
And he's blackmailing me into it. But anyway.
If bacon buddies are causing stress in your marriage, don't start me.
I eat them very quietly.
Okay. There are other races in Australia on the weekend too, by the way.
A lot of Group 1s.
Yeah, most of them are in Sydney, and they don't involve anybody that either of us are married to or involve eating sandwiches
Bacon and egg buddies.
Yep.
Let's start with Think About It, who of course took out the Premier Stakes and announced himself as favourite for the Everest with this dominant win.
Think About It travels well. Clipperton's eyeing off a rails run and getting it pretty quickly now. Alcohol-free and restricted room, and Hawaii 5-0 is running on really well down the outside. Think About It went up the inside to join Zapateo. Hawaii 5-0 wide out, and then Bella Nipotina running on. It's Think About It all out. Hawaii 5-0. Think About It. Hawaii 5-0 lunges. Oh, close here. Did the favourite hang on? Think About It. Maybe a nose to Hawaii 5-0. Bella Nipotina third, followed by Alcohol Free has run well. Further back to Cote.
Love Think About It. He's just a winner, isn't he? 11 starts, 10 wins. He finds a way. And I think the thing that I took away from this race was the fact that Think About It didn't have a run under his belt, whereas Hawaii 5-0 did. So I can't wait to see the improvement from Think About It.
I thought he was okay. I'm not sure I want to be taking $4 for him in the Everest. Admittedly, it's not the deepest Everest ever. The second horse now gets into the Everest. It gets the Aquis Farm spot, and James McDonald will ride it. So James now has an Everest ride. This is a very confused market because nobody in Australia believes Imperatriz isn't going to the Everest. And I asked David Ellis again yesterday, and I asked Mark Walker, and they said, we're not going to the Everest. But a horse who has now been publicly quoted as not going to the Everest about 15 times, and it's still second favourite with us, and with the Australian tab, it's favourite. They just can't get it through their heads it's not supposed to be going. There's all these rumours that Coolmore are going to buy it and do a deal, and just on Coolmore they have Shinzo going for the Everest trials on Tuesday morning. It's a very confused informational space, but Te Akau assure us it's not going to be there, so you can take that out of the market. I wish I win.
Get him behind the Kiwi, I wish I win, yeah.
I think he's the horse to beat in the race, and I can't see any reason he's not. This is not going to be as strong as the TJ, which he came from last to win.
Yeah, he overcame plenty to get up and get that success, didn't he? 3 other Group 1s on the card from Randwick, and we can look at those. The first of them is Tropical Squall. What a time for Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott. They had a number of winners on the programme, 2 Group 1s, and this horse taking out the Flight Stakes, Michael.
A Group 1 has a really good horse's record. It's by Prized Icon, who obviously raced in those same colours. Remarkably, Prized Icon's only had 13 winners. Oh, sorry, 13 starters, my apologies. 2 winners. This is one of the 2 winners. So we've got a few unusual stallion stories going on in racing at the moment, but Tropical Squall may well be a really good filly.
Yeah, and Tiz Invincible was eye-catching there after having a torrid run in transit. This was where the girls took over on the card at Randwick, because we had Group 1 success from Kathy O'Hara and also Rachel King. This was a nice effort by this horse, and for Kathy and Charlie and Chris Waller, and Kathy was aboard for the Bill Ritchie and gets the Group 1 for Chris in this.
I thought Kovalika was really good in second, but for the people who don't know, like Charlie Duckworth is the stable foreman for Chris Waller, very close friends. They were a very close association, and Kathy, the friends of yours, is obviously his wife. That's a huge deal to be that, you know, basically a training partner, because that's what they are with Chris, and then Kathy to win a Group 1 for them. That's magical stuff. I think a lot of people felt happier about that than the result or the horse in itself. It's just a wonderful racing story.
In the staying Group 1, the Metropolitan Just Fine remained unbeaten in the Southern Hemisphere and got this victory over the 2,400 metres. It was a clinical ride by Rachel King. She didn't panic, she put the horse in the right spot and was able to peel off and close home strongly. Very short price favouritism around Just Fine in the build-up.
Look, he's heading to the Melbourne Cup, but Metrop form heading to the Melbourne Cup doesn't tend to be very good. And by the way, the first 4 home here, all former English horses. So all of them from the Northern Hemisphere, first 4. But a whole plane load of better Northern Hemisphere horses have landed in Victoria. Now, when you have a futures bet in the Melbourne Cup, half the problem is them turning up, but Vauban's there. And I know he's won a hurdle race, but I was at Ascot when he won, and he won by a cricket pitch. He's very, very short at $5, but he is in Victoria, which is crucial. Sulcombe, of course, we know is... You can leave me out of Just Fine at $8. But as we all know, there's lots of movement in the last month with horses not and making it to the race for the Melbourne Cup. But yeah, there's far better English, Irish horses now in Australia than the ones we're seeing racing here at the moment.
Yeah, and that picture will become a lot clearer as we count down to that first Tuesday in November. Our final break on weigh-in this morning, and we leave you with Logan Bates, who is an expat Kiwi living in Australia, and he rode his first winner a couple of weeks ago. He, of course, is the son of Kylie Williams and Jamie Bates, so well done and a big congratulations to him.
Running on. Hydro Star yet to be clicked up, coming with a sound run, and Gabster wide out starting to thunder home. They're the big 2. Gabster going after Hydro Star. Our boy Brian from a minute back. Gabster moved up on the outside, took the lead from Hydro Star, and Gabster sprints away for its second win.
Now don't you worry about my boyfriend, the boy whose name is Vitorino. I don't want him, couldn't stand him.
Today's weigh-in is brought to you by our stable of sponsors.
Coming through Plastic Carousel, Fantastic Moon, Ace Impact launched up on the outside. It's Hookham and Westover again, the Ascot rivals together to Sim Camille. Ace Impact coming strongly down the centre of the course, and also following him through as Ernesto into the closing stages. It is Ace Impact in front, and Ace Impact has won the arc, remains unbeaten to Westover Ernesto through 7 Seas continuous. Baybridge and Sisfahan who can feed the flame. Sim Camille, fantastic. Fantastic Moon to go to Plastic.
Some good celebrations there post Arc de Triomphe that was run on Sunday. Winner Ace Impact now unbeaten to the races, but reportedly potentially retiring to stud after that victory in the Group 1 Prix d'Arc de Triomphe. Well, for the last part of Weigh-In, we've been promising you an interview with Butch Castles. Plenty of changes in the Waikato region. Let's find out more about those.
Well, Andrew, now in the hub of the Waikato Thoroughbred Racing. It's been a real thing now for around 6 or 7 weeks. How's it going?
Yeah, look, we're getting there. There's always the teething issues. Bringing together the financial aspects of the three clubs certainly takes a lot of work, even just from making sure everyone got paid on time and making sure everyone at the three venues got paid through one system, looking to try and bring in all the debtors and creditors under one umbrella as well, bank accounts, those types of things. So that's taking a lot of work. There's other stuff in the periphery as well that needs to be picked up. But no, we're getting there.
Okay, before we get to the racing side of things, what are the 2 or 3 biggest things on the agenda for the board of Waikato Thoroughbred Racing?
Well, in the merger agreement, the biggest thing is a venues and facilities plan in the first 2 years. So that's something that we're working on a funding application to the gaming through the TAB, working with NZTR on that. So looking to get some funding to pull together a very robust and a venue plan for the future for. I would have thought maybe a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year window for what things look like in the Waikato. So above all else, that will be the key thing for the board to get their teeth into in this first 2 years.
A phrase that is banded around in the Waikato a lot over the last couple of years, but there hasn't been a lot of context to, is the Greenfields project. Is that a case where we go right back to the start and the conversation starts again under a new entity, or do you believe there's an appetite for change towards that at the moment from the board?
Well, that'll be for the board to determine by taking the very best advice from all sorts of professionals. I mean, there are 3 significant assets, if you like, for the racing facilities here at Te Rapa, at Cambridge, and out at Te Awamutu, Waipa. So it's a matter of what is required for the industry, for the participants in the region and in the greater North Island and then New Zealand over the next long period of time. And once that's determined, and look, there's all sorts of things that come into that the lifespan of the synthetic track at Cambridge obviously has a real role to play in that, how long that is there for. There's a couple of landmark years in that where it's a significant cost to redo the polymer mix that's in the sand. And so there's all of those types of things to go into the mix. What I can be pretty confident in saying is that I would say there was no chance of the 3 clubs as individual clubs agreeing to the Greenfields approach to the future. I think by bringing the 3 under one umbrella, that opportunity exists because everyone will be looking at it from the one angle, the one perspective, the Waikato Thoroughbred Racing angle, rather than their own club perspective. So I think that, to me, was always going to be the biggest thing, that things like that are now possible into the future if it's determined by the board that is the right path to go down.
A couple of the highlights we have coming up around Legends Day. We have the Sir Patrick Hogan Karapiro Classic, which is the innovation race, and of course the Herbie Dyke going back to being the richest weight for age race in the country at I think $600,000. So they're huge deals for you. What about general stakes? Is there anything WTR can do to boost stakes for normal races, or is it a case of consolidation before you start thinking down that path?
I don't think that will happen in the first year. I think clearly that will be an aim, and it's one of the, I think there's 9 or 10 key tenets to the merger agreement to look to reinvest into stake money. But there are all of those decisions around venues and the like. I mean, Auckland Thoroughbred Racing have done a wonderful job in setting a benchmark there. Look, we would love to be able to, into the future, put some money into stake. I'd be surprised if that happened in the first year of operation. We have got and had a hearing recently, what's called Plan Change 13, which is for 6.5 hectares of land here that's pretty much used once a year. And look, if that comes to life, that hearing finished a couple of weeks ago. There's still some outside of the hearing stuff to tidy up, and we should have a determination on that into the new year. Now, that will unlock the potential for some significant revenue to come to the Waikato Thoroughbred Racing entity, and that's the sort of time when some of those things can materialise.
There's people watching this, as always, on Weigh In who are industry participants. They own horses, they train horses, or they work inside the industry. Will this change affect them at all? In the next 5 years, they want to know about their life. Does this change things for them anytime soon?
Look, going back to what I said about key decisions being made for the betterment of those people, for those people that derive their livelihoods out of the industry, I am very confident that much better decisions into the future will be made by one entity rather than the three that were probably making decisions from a single focus for their club. Now they can have a single focus on the greater Waikato region.
Talking about some of the highlights coming up, Waikato Cup Day is obviously a huge deal for you guys, but Legends Day now, coming off the back of holding the Railway, holding the New Zealand Derby, it's a pretty special time for Te Rapa. Like, this is a massive body of work over a 2 or 3 year period.
Yeah, it is. And look, the track has held up remarkably well. We're extremely lucky that Bart Cowan is the track manager here. He is very, very good at his job. And look, he has brought it back from the abyss, really. When we got here, it was almost like a sandpit, and a lot of hard work has gone into getting it there. It didn't get a renovation last season because of us needing to stage the Derby. And look, by the end of Legends Day coming up, it will be tired, and it will need that renovation. It will need that 10-week break to be scarified, verdi drained, ripped. All of those things will need to take place. But look, I'm thrilled how it's come back. Like, it wasn't that long ago. It was really, really heavy here, and for them to be running 112 after it being heavy early in the week, it's not a bad surface.
It must have hurt back then because Te Rapa as a facility and the people here are good people. But when the track wasn't at its best and people had a slightly anti-Te Rapa track element, it must have been bloody hard to take.
Yeah, well, it was an interesting time. I sort of walked into the tail end of it, but Bart sort of shouldered a lot of that from coming on board and having to fix it. But look, he as I say, he is very, very good at his job, takes a scientific approach to it, uses advice when he can, uses different things. He talks about a sacred elixir that he's got that he uses on the track, and all sorts of things that he has tried, and it has had a lot of racing and a lot of really important racing, and we're just thrilled that we were able to step into the breach, because ultimately it is in everyone's interest that Ellerslie is given that time, comes back, and it is our international venue, and for us to be able to step up and hold those races was a bit of a privilege, really, particularly a Derby. I mean, that is the race, in my opinion, the New Zealand Derby, and for us to stage it last year was a real thrill.
A lot of people love the hype. Entain are here now, part of the TAB, and there's some massive stakes increases, and there's a general feel-good. But you're a nuts and bolts man. You deal with everybody in the industry, from truck drivers up to Brendan Lindsay. What do you genuinely think? Are you more enthused, or are you more confident about the future of the industry right now with no hyperbole?
Yeah, look, I've been involved in various roles for nearly 30 years now, off and on. I went and sold beer for a while in the interim, but...
Were you really good at that?
Yeah, both sides of the fence, to be fair. But, look, I don't know that... Well, in fact, I do know that there's never been as much positivity in the industry. People that have been walking around kicking stones and had their head to the ground for a long time are actually positive about things. I mean, why you couldn't help but be another, $20-odd million in stakes, and NZTR were very quick to get that out. There was a lot of work went on behind the scenes when that Entain deal was developing, so that they were able to get out and give stakeholders a really clear indication as to what they'd be playing for, where they'd be playing for that money. And you talk of that Sir Patrick Hogan Karapiro Classic, one of those innovation races, and wonderful that his family's seen fit to sponsor that race, simply because he was just such a great innovator, and I couldn't think of a better fit for that race. But there's a $350,000 race for horses that were maidens on the 1st of August. Now, that should be a field chock-a-block full of form, but it should also give... I mean, you've got a horse like that, and you can aim it up in a race like that. You win a maiden now, you can think about maybe giving it a break, coming back, having a couple of runs, trying to get into that race.
Butch Castles always very generous with his time. We really appreciate him giving us all that information regarding the Waikato. Michael, great to hear the progress that's being made, and I think that's all people expect and all they hope for.
Well, most crucially, as Butch said, 3 clubs now looking in the same direction so they can make decisions about the future of Waikato racing, which is for the benefit of everybody, not just their individual clubs. Talking about that region, obviously Te Araha has been a real issue for the industry for quite a while. Revamped, didn't quite work. It's working now. So this is the return to racing for Te Araha blueprint. Tomorrow, Tuesday, they're going to have 20 horses have a spin around. They're going to then have leading jockeys there and industry participants to work it all out. Then jump outs on Thursday. So this is happening really quickly with senior riders, no 2-year-olds, and then the feedback will let them say, look, we're ready to race. Crucial that Te Araha get back racing in because Te Rapa has copped so much of that load and it's done a massive job. Well done to Bart Cowan and his team, but light at the end of the tunnel there. So in the next couple of weeks in weigh-in, we'll take the cameras back out to Ellerslie. We know everybody's thinking about it. Get you an update on how things are heading there. I'm thinking it's pretty good, but when you have Auckland Thoroughbred Racing looking in one direction and wanting to do the right thing, and then Waikato Thoroughbred Racing coming on board in, those governance issues may not be sexy and as much fun as racing, but they're crucially important. So massive ticks in a couple of different columns there, and a potential tick for Te Araha.
Yeah, exciting stuff, and we'll be following that over the next few weeks. That's it. Another show done and dusted here on Weigh In. Great to have your company. We'll be back same time, same place next week.